Welcome.
Welcome
to another episode
of Drive to the Res. Your favorite hosts, Larry
and Inelia.
Yeah, we say our names properly. This was a nice week.
Was it?
Yes. Quite a busy week.
Yeah. Today we thought we'd start with just me reading this newsletter, and then we're going to go through the points very slowly. Okay.
Podcast style where we, get in depth. But first we're just going to read the whole thing.
Yes. And there's a couple of items also. Oh, announcement.
A couple of items also.
Yeah. First announcement. We have a fundraiser on the 22nd of December 2022.
It's fundraiser.
A fundraiser.
Fundraiser. It's going to raise the fun. And some funds.
Have some fun! And all the fans are there to support Larry and me and where we live and our projects and everything else.
And
so time to have fun. It's going to be a card reading. So if you buy your ticket, you're going to get a chance to get a reading from us.
I think you have a couple of presents in there too, right?
Yes, a couple of presents. We're going to do like one of those names in the hat thing. What are those called?
Random drawings.
Yeah, a random drawing for some presents as well. And
it's a present for you and a present for us.
Yes.
If you go to the fundraiser and you get a card reading,
if
that's a present for you. If you can't
attend, you can still send us a donation.
Yeah,
right?
You don't have to show up.
You don't have to show up.
But we'd like it if you do.
Yes, it would be much more fun. So that's the first announcement.
All right.
I think that's the only announcement. We also have several other things going on. So if you haven't yet, make sure that you subscribe to the newsletter at ineliabenz.com because we have lots of stuff coming up.
This year we've been doing a thing each year with
looking at
Walk With Me Now as the Secret Santa thing, remember?
Oh yeah, that was fun.
So, it takes a little while to get to know everybody. So this year, maybe you put it on your list to join Walk With Me Now.
Yes.
And one of the things we do as a group there is our Secret Santa for the month of December, and everybody sends everybody else presents. It's quite fun. That wants to. You don't require to.
Right, yeah. And this month we also have...
Oh, yeah. Gosh, what's coming in 2023? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at 2023.
I have a feeling it's going to be quite the call.
Yes.
Because every year I keep thinking, I was going to chillax now. Things are going to be easy. And it might, and it has.
So 2023, the first hour you're going to get as a public broadcast service for
sort
free.
Of like our Drive to the Res podcast.
It's all going to be all sanitized and censored to go out in places like YouTube and all
anywhere and everywhere. Yeah. All
and
accesses.
The deep stuff, the interesting stuff is going to be in the second hour.
Yeah, that's just for Subscribe Star, just for Walk With Me Now, just for
ticket holders.
Ticket holders, not because it's too exclusive, and you're not allowed
it's just to make sure that we don't get censored, basically. It's like,
there's no point in putting it out where it's not going to go anyway.
Yeah.
So join those things. You're in your private room. You don't get deleted in your own room.
Right.
But out in the world, you do get deleted. So that's why it's there.
Yeah. All right. Let's read our newsletter that we're going to be discussing.
Yeah, but when are you going to have that 2023 call? How do you find out?
I don't. Oh, you go to the newsletter. Make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter at ineliabenz.com.
Go to the newsletter at ineliabenz.com.
And also find us at Inelia Benz Telegram channel.
Yeah, that would be a good place. You'll get notified there.
Yes, definitely.
If you're not on Telegram, go ahead and get on there. It's a pretty handy place.
And if you don't want to miss out, really make sure you get in. Just subscribe to Subscribe Star. And you get your ticket instantly
then it comes
when it comes out.
Yeah.
When the tickets are ready, you're going to get them right away. Or Walk With Me Now. So
just search for Inelia Benz and any of those ways you'll get it.
Yeah, for the second hour of Looking at 2023.
Looking at 2023.
All right. Let's do this.
All right. First, we're just going to read it.
Turns out the sniffles are not a sickness.
Whoa, jeez.
Sniffles. Don't forget, we're not discussing it yet.
I'm just closing my eyes so I don't say anything.
Okay. Turns out the sniffles are not a sickness. Myth bursting number 2. In case you missed this, there's a link for the number 1 myth bust ink. I thought Theo was my friend, and you can find that at ineliabenz.com. Turns out that the sniffles are not an illness. When we get the sniffles, such as colds, the flu, etc., we're expelling a toxin from our bodies. The sniffles are a healing process, not the illness itself. For maximum authority over the statement, truth it. I am not a medical authority, so don't take my word for it. I wouldn't take the word of the present poo paradigm medical authorities either. Be your own authority. Where did this information come from? It came from a lot of research, and if you want to follow the information to a better understanding and depth, I would recommend you start reading and listening to Dr. Tom Cowan. I was shocked to find out that a cold or a flu are symptoms of something else. This something else is probably toxicity or parasites. The toxicity we ingest is not from food or water pollutants, but also from sound waves like microwaves, Wi-Fi, and all the telephone G-bands. We also have pollutants in emotional and mental overstimulation. What we can do? Research and carry out regular detox protocols for your mind and body. Minimize emotional, mental, and media pollution. Remove GMOs and non-organic foods from our menus. Reduce or remove known toxins from your diet, such as sugar replacements, highly processed sugar, drugs, and alcohol. Reactivate the natural capacity to absorb energy from trees and the sun. Live somewhere where you can turn off all Wi-Fi at night. And if you can't do that because you have 1,000 neighbors, then educate yourself on EMF protection. These are just a few things that support us in reducing the toxins and stresses of life. Let the sniffles reduce too. And you can join us in Telegram and ineliabenz.com. Boom!
Good job.
Now you can start commentary. That was hard for
tough.
you. That was hard for you, huh?
That was a long journey because I just came from a journey. I just journeyed to downtown Tacoma, T-Town. We call it T-Town.
T-Town? Why do you call it T-Town?
That's just because somebody told me that's what you call it.
Oh.
If you're going to go, you go to T-Town.
Is it because the word Tacoma starts with a T? Possibly.
I never asked.
Or is it that they drink a lot of tea in Tacoma?
I knew it wasn't that.
Oh, it's not that? Okay.
No, because the sources of the go to tea towns were not tea drinkers.
Okay, got it.
So, yeah, I guess and it's tea, as in starts with a T.
Could be.
And that's where you go, and you don't have to take a ferry. When you're going to Seattle from Nia Bay, you go straight to T Town. Okay. So if you want to go to the big city, you go to T Town. Then you go to the mall, or you can go out, do whatever, casinos, stuff. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I went to T Town for a championship game. Mm-hmm. It was a very strange experience, honestly, because it was a mixed agenda experience. You know what I mean?
No. Can you tell me what a mixed agenda is?
Mixed agenda experience is like, here's an excuse to go somewhere. Uh-huh. Here's another excuse to go somewhere. They're somewhat related, but not necessarily.
Okay.
And so you're going there for the one thing, or you're going there for the other thing. They get mixed. This is mixed agenda, right?
Got it.
So I was going there because we as a family group, my son and his girlfriend and I, had a common experience of football. His football star in high school, you know. Mm-hmm. So they were the champions of the world, the best there ever was. There was never any better, never has been, never will be, forever and ever. You know how that is?
Yes.
And so since he graduated from school, he went on to another school, and this high school team that he left hasn't won very many games anymore.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah. He was in a team that was...
He was in a very, very good team. Extremely well, worked well together.
Yeah, it did.
He and one of the other boys actually ended up on teams in college.
Yeah.
At whatever the league they're in, the Premier League.
Yes, I don't know what they're called.
Here in the U.S.,
top college.
There's... I don't even know what the words are.
You've forgotten already.
It's like there's top colleges and lower level colleges. He was one of the top colleges, and getting into one of those colleges and on their football teams was really, really difficult.
Yes.
You got thousands of high schools and lots of people standing up. And then, anyway, he did well.
He did.
He got on his little football team. He had a great time. But the high school didn't have any more championship runs after they left. Him and his couple of friends. They're really, really good at that. They worked really good together. Anyway, this was the first year they had a chance at it again. They won all their games. And all of their games, they won them all like 50-0, 70-0.
Wow,
they were doing really, really, really good.
That's amazing.
And so this is the first year they made it all the way to the state championship game again.
Nice.
So that was an excuse
to go
to Tacoma. The whole tribe went. And Cam is down in New Mexico.
And
he and his girlfriend flew up from New Mexico for the game.
Yes.
And they got a thing called rover.com to watch their puppies. Because it was a last minute thing. I was like, who's watching your dogs? Rover.com.
I don't know what that is.
What is that? I said, I don't know, we just found it. You type it in there and then they have a dog sitter showed up to take care of their dogs.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
I don't think it'll work for us out in the
We're going to
States.
try it anyway.
Okay.
We might be the one that when they go to rover.com, they find us.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Little
sort of side hustle.
Side hustle, yeah. Nice.
Anyway. So it was a mixed agenda excuse, right? So he could fly up and have a reason. Because just to fly up and see his dear old dad.
It's not going to work for him, huh?
No, and us too. We're not flying into Mexico just to go see dear old Cam and his girlfriend and dogs. Yeah. We got lots of, things that tug us to our spot.
Yeah.
They have their house and their dogs and their jobs and their works. And, we have the same thing. But this gave us an excuse to go to Tacoma and visit.
So how does that relate to the sniffles, may I ask?
Well, when we go through, I'll bring it to... It does. It matters.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just like talking because I like to talk to you, but I do.
Excuses for getting together with our loved ones.
It was a mixed agenda. We were talking about the week, and the week was a bit strange. So that was the excuse, right? But and we did it, and we visited. But it's like if you go and you meet somebody, and you go somewhere where it's really loud, you don't really talk a lot because you're focused on that thing. But at the same time, you want to pay attention to the other thing and hang out. Yeah. So it was a little bit unsatisfying. You wanted more of the other reason. This was the excuse. So you paid attention to the excuse, and then it was time to go on. And he had to fly back to New Mexico, and I had to come back here because we had podcast today. I can't be driving and podcasting because it's called Driving to the Res. So, of course, I can't be driving.
Yes, we changed the driving part for sure.
We're still driving in our heads.
We have to drive here to record it.
We have to drive here to record it, and it's still the conversation, the inspiration for the whole Driving to the Res was that time we were using to have interesting conversations,
we did, yeah.
right?
And we thought, it'd be so amazing to share these conversations.
So they're still the same conversations. Anyways, the interesting part is the way that the mixed agendas made me feel. And when I was there, they have this thing called sniffles are not a sickness. Well, they have this thing. I was driving in T-Town, Tacoma, through the neighborhoods, right? And I literally counted 1,000 wires going everywhere and all the little 5G antennas and everything. It was like, that's a shocking amount.
Yeah.
I think it's like creep. Yeah. You know what they call it? It like creeps in a little bit at a time. The frog's boiling a little bit at a time. If you went from where we are here, 0, there's only one wire there. Yeah. And I go driving through downtown, not even downtown, it's just the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's 20 wires up.
Wow.
And going every which way to every single house, all connected with all these types of EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, wires, electrical, 5Gs, 3Gs, 4Gs, NGs. There was all the Gs.
All the Gs. Plus all the Wi-Fi's inside the houses.
And every individual had a phone who was also transmitting and receiving.
Yes.
It was the soupiest soupity soup I could have never even imagined. It's like, how did it end up like this?
Right.
And it's not so much even that. It's that, what is that and how does that affect bodies, humans, trees, plants, bees, all the things, right? All the things. I mean, we assume that it's none or very little because we can't see it, and because it's all people and all people compared to all other people. We don't compare me to compare them that live there to here. We don't really do that comparison. Right. We don't usually go from here to there and stay there for a month or something and see what effect that it has on our bodies. And we have plenty of other excuses to blame it on. Yes. It's like, oh, it's winter time, so we get sick, or they get the shot, so they're sick, or the whatevers. Yeah. But there's a lot going on. And last time you did a looking ahead at some time period, you did the looking ahead call, remember? You said something about it's a good time to move out of the city if you're in the city. Yes. And it's so obvious now. It's impossible to not see it. It's like they've created their own environment that's it's I don't even have the words for it. It's like, gosh, really? It's like a thick soup of toxins, right? It is. Right? Yeah. Electrical, magnetic fields or whatever they're called. Yeah, the electrical fields and it's like, they have electric motors. They got a little electric field out here, and little magnets in there, and it spins and makes everything go, or gas engines, and it spins and makes everything go. Well, they have those free energy devices and things that are collecting energy, focusing it, and then absorbing and using, turn into electricity. And it's all this magnetic electric field stuff, right? And you've basically put yourself in one of those. Right. But you don't know how it's designed. You don't know what its intended effect is. You don't know any of its, like the word they like to use is a side effect, which isn't really a side effect. It's just an effect. Just a consequence. This is one of the effects. There's many of them. Yeah. So sniffles are not a sickness is related to that. I went and I was there. I was only there for 3 hours. Yeah. I had the option maybe spending the night. But like I said, we had a podcast today. I really wanted to visit, but I also didn't want to. My body had an urgency to it. Your body knew. My body was like, we have to get out. You got to get out of here. Do you understand where you're sitting? It's like, go into more of it, or it was crazy. So I talked to my son. I gave a big hug, and it's a really big hug. Like, your mom's here. You guys could go, Pike's Place and have a great time and have a wonderful visit. I have a podcast somewhere. And I have to go home. I just can't stay any longer. Yeah. I got out of my truck. It was going 90 miles an hour down the freeway without pushing the gas. I hope you don't get a ticket for saying that. I didn't get a ticket. You can't get a passed ticket. Anyway, everybody else is going fast. Oh, okay. I mean, I passed a few people, but... So it felt like you were going 90 miles an hour. No, it really was. I looked down. I was like, this old truck, this one has 260,000 miles on it, right? It's our last beast standing. Yes. Everything else is busted. Our new truck's broken. Our other truck's door don't work. 2016. Our new truck is 2016. Yeah, that's brand new. Yeah. Our old beast is 2008. Yeah. Is it 8? Yeah, maybe 98 or 2000. Might be 98, I think. Anyway, 260,000 miles, and she goes down the road. But it was like I had a push behind me and a pull in front of me going at the same time. It's like, and it took me home fast. I was like, 2 o'clock I was there, and 5 o'clock I would be home, and it's a 4 or 5 hour drive. It's like smoking. Of course, I got sidetracked in Squim because, stores. Costco's in the way, and I had to get some bread. Several boxes later. Several boxes of bread. But the point was that the sniffles are not a sickness. What we're talking about is the effect that has on your body. I felt it when I got home, and you felt it off of me. It was weird. I was feeling great all day, super healthy, strong, no any type of effects at all, like from toxicities or anything. Had a great day, and then it was only like half an hour after you arrived that my throat
swelled
Yeah,
up.
throat started swelling up.
And literally I would touch it and it was lumpy in my throat. And I remember learning that the throat is the first part where it's the first defense against toxins or things, right? And that's why you feel that throat swelling, because it's the glands there that are reacting to the toxins, taking the toxins away from...
Flushing,
I say, yeah.
They're gathering to flush, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then
and collecting.
The back of my head started hurting, and it was like I started feeling congested. And it was really bizarre because I'd been fine the entire day. And it's not like, we do obviously when we first see each other after a few hours. Because we hug and kiss and... But, it wasn't like... I mean, that shouldn't be what happens, Like, I wasn't in that environment, but your body's reaction to that environment triggered my body to react the same way.
Similarly, right. So it's
like your body told mine, there's toxins around.
Hey, we got toxins here,
get
better
rid
flush
of
them.
Yeah.
Flush them. And it's just as likely from the EMFs,
Mm-hmm.
it's just as likely from the environment. It's got a lot of, toxins.
Yeah.
We think of toxins in several ways, but some of the toxins were the electromagnetic blanket, right?
Yes.
Modulating at different frequencies. Even though we can't hear it, we can't see it, it doesn't not exist.
Right.
It is there.
It is there, yeah.
It has an effect.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't said, this effect is from this thing. You turn it up and it does it more. We have some of that.
Did you eat any junk food or fast food on your way there and back?
No, I did try to have a sausage McMuffin. Couldn't do it.
Oh.
It didn't work.
Right.
It was
from
bad.
McDonald's?
Huh?
Oh, yeah. Now your body can tell it's full of toxic.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Stuff, yeah.
I had orange juice. I got about half of it, and the other half I had later, but I couldn't even do the whole orange juice from there. It must have some stuff
it has
too.
Nanobots.
Yeah. I stopped at the mini mart and tried to get a donut. I couldn't eat those very much either. They weren't good. And I got some, I didn't have the greatest food.
Right.
But I didn't pig out on bad food either. So I didn't really eat much. I just had coffee from the house. Pretty much that was it the whole day.
Yeah, because sometimes, when we go, we overload ourselves with the EMF fields from all the electrical and Wi-Fi's and internets and whatevers, the 5Gs, 4Gs, 3Gs, whatevers. But also we overload ourselves with junk food and sodas and processed white sugar and all that stuff when we're out. And I remember that the last time we went into town, you put together a lunch basket for me with all the good things from home.
The good things from
organic things and clean juice and all these things. And we went into town, and it was the first time that I came back from town feeling good. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I bought you a new lunchbox for that very reason.
It's like so simple. It wasn't complicated,
Yeah, I had actually planned on doing that for this trip too, but it was just too early and I kind of got distracted and tired. Next time I won't.
Yeah. So it's important to see
prepare yourself, right?
Yeah, because if you had been prepared, I'm pretty sure that the effects like the swollen throat, and I still have it, by the way, and all the other effects would have been less or none, right? Maybe. Because even people who decide to stay there, it's not like it's impossible to live. There's millions and billions of people live in cities surrounded by those energies. But they come in slowly, but also they're not going to have long lives, right? Or healthy lives, probably.
They'll probably have, what we call healthy, they're going to be flushing a lot.
Yeah, unless they counteract these toxins somehow. And there's a lot of research and information out there on how to do it, right? So it's like, unless they do this, but it's not going to be the easiest life because you're having to deal with
flushing all
the time and also detoxing all the time. It's an effort, right? But it's doable. And there's also management ways in which at night you can, we had the
EMF tent.
EMF tents and also some things that you can do. So there's a lot of stuff you can do.
Yeah, like getting good sleep. That's when you're supposed to be flushing. It's supporting the whole flushing toxin thing, right?
Yeah.
Flushing isn't comfortable, though. That's a thing that you got to remember. It's not necessarily a comfortable experience.
Yeah.
But it is...
So, something very interesting happened to me about a week ago.
Yeah.
I woke up with all the flushing sniffles. Again, sore throat. My head was completely congested and blocked nose and coughing. My lungs were hurting and all these things were happening. And I knew from the perspective of flushing, okay, my body has a toxin or maybe a buildup of toxins that I need to start getting rid of. Mm-hmm. So actually all I did was say to my body, okay, I see and understand what's happening here. Mm-hmm. Can we have it in a way that's more comfortable? Because this is really uncomfortable for me. Right? Mm-hmm. And my body gave me a very clear indication of what to stop eating. It said, like, okay, I know you like chocolate and all that stuff, but processed sugars, you need to stop that. The processed sugars, you have to stop. We're not compatible with highly processed sugar. Just have the honey, have the organic maple syrup, have the organic unprocessed sugar. That's all fine. Just don't have the highly processed sugars you get in your commercial chocolates and all that type of stuff. So I said, okay, I heard it and listened.
Yeah, so you can have a more comfortable process, but you also need to contribute to that process because you're part of it.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm flushing, so I'm going to add some more toxins. That'll make it even harder.
Right.
But
and then also she decided to flush in a different way. Right? Which is not exactly pleasant, but it's more pleasant to me than the sniffles and headache and everything else. Right. And basically, I had to be very close to the toilet.
You have to go potty a lot.
Yeah, I had to go to potty a lot. Mm-hmm. And it only lasted like a few hours. And the next day, I had no symptoms. I had no sniffles. The sniffles were gone. And that's never happened to me in my life before. Never.
So.
And also, the support that I had was the lemon juice,
lemon and honey. We got nice honey too. We got
really
some
nice honey.
Akari and honey. Ooh, that's so yummy.
Oh my gosh, super good. My body's like sucking it up, man. That honey. And there was something else. Oh yeah, the chaga tablets. And some other items.
Elderberry syrup. We're getting my elderberry fairy. That's the one we use. And I don't know if you've heard of it, but my elderberry fairy. Yeah. So these things all support your body to flush the toxins or deal with the toxins in better, healthier ways. And literally the next day, I had no symptoms. I have never gone from having what I call a massive cold. It's going to be bad.
Right? Then you got a temperature, you have a temperature, you have everything.
And head and all this stuff.
And the coughing all night, you know. Never gone from that state to zero symptoms the next day. That's the first time it's ever happened. And all I did was listen to my body, right? From the perspective, I understand that I have overindulged in toxins. I understand this. Now, support me. And the other toxin that I was indulging in was television, right? And there was like lots of shows we watched because we were looking for something to watch. And I wanted something to watch that was like entertaining in a way that was kind of mystical or fantasy, magical, sci-fi, you know. But every single one of those shows were horrific to the human body and the human soul. They were just nasty shows. It's like forward in the nasty parts, but even then it's like, how about this, you know, and then you get stuck in a loop.
Yep, you do.
And one of the strong messages was, just stop doing that BS. You don't need to do this. That's toxic. That is literally toxic.
Bad thoughts.
And let's immediately, boom, switched it off.
Well,
right?
Imagine, just take it to the logical space that it goes to. Your body doesn't know. I mean, it does and it doesn't. It sees, and that sees, violence. It calls.
Yes.
That's real.
That's real, yeah.
And so even though it's imaginary real, it still has the triggers of real. So imagine going outside and watching that slaughter and going, all the now my body knows it needs to flush because now you're in a space with toxins and death and putrefaction and hey, it's going to make you sick. Those are bad thoughts.
Bad thoughts.
We call it bad thoughts, but it's life-preserving thoughts.
Yeah, that's true.
It is supportive of you thoughts. It's just...
and I think the key word is supportive of you.
Right. But it's also a misconception. The body is seeing something, thinking it's real, but it's not. It doesn't have that difference, you know?
Yeah, it can't differentiate properly. So I listened. I listened and I stopped. I stopped looking for things that we might be able to watch, you know? In fact, we watch a really, really kind of... The only thing is like little children's programs that we can watch now because they're light and fluffy. And listened, you know, stop that nonsense and the processed sugar one and all these things. And like I said, I had never had that experience that from one day to the next, I had zero symptoms. One day I was coughing all night, tight lungs, sore throat, my head completely congested, a fever, and then the next day, nothing.
Your body's getting good at flushing. Yeah. And you listened.
Yeah.
And you supported it in the process.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you didn't suppress it. No. You allowed it to function well.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 days. You might have a build-up. Sometimes it is fast. Yeah. I guess it's one of those listen to your bodies.
Yeah. And what do you feel about, it's like, I've already did the disclaimer. We're not doctors, right?
I'm doctor of me.
But
is it being a doctor like being a saint? Not necessarily a good thing.
So one of the things that I have investigated and I listened to is Dr. Cohen's podcasts and his writings, his books.
Yeah, he's not afraid to examine all kinds of things medically and take the assumption, you assume you know about XYZ, but did you investigate
this other part
in any way how that came to be?
Right.
So if we look at how that came to be, we find this and that and the other. It's like, well, I wouldn't necessarily make that conclusion from that. I might not be able to make any conclusion from that. Why don't we look at it from the start again?
Yes.
So I really like that process.
I like his openness about
open to investigate and learn.
He is, yeah.
He's willing to try things. It's like, that's interesting. Let's try that. Let's see what happens. But he's not...
another part that I find interesting, and we have talked about this before, about the sniffles, is that when I was in high school in England, in biology class, the teacher clearly stated, and it wasn't the main teacher, it was actually one of these ones that come when the teacher can't make it. And he was there for a few weeks, and this particular teacher talked to us about the sniffles, getting colds, and he said, these are just messages that the body gives out and tells other bodies that there's some toxin, and he said germs at the time, in the air, right? They're not the effect of the toxin or the germ, because he did believe in germ theory. Now I'm not so sure about germ theory. I have to investigate some more before I talk about
train theory. You're a train theorist now.
Yeah. So it's like he said, it's a system of communication.
Yeah.
And so your body is responding to communication from other bodies, and we're not actually catching anything from other people. We're just making sure that we flush all toxins so we don't get affected. But he didn't say them in those words, but he said the communication part of it. And that all those things that came out of our bodies, like the snots and coughs and all that, those were a communication system between us and other people. That's the part that he told and taught. Now, I haven't seen that in many other places, but in the 80s, it was something that a teacher could teach in school. But not anymore. I've never heard other people learning it that way. And I remember at the time thinking, oh my God, our bodies are disgusting. Why couldn't you just say something rather than do all these nasty things? Snots and coughs and things to me have always been absolutely gross, right? It's like, oh geez, it's like, no way. But so information that's similar or related to this topic has been around for ever, really.
Probably forever, really. It's a real small window of, this is the new reality. It doesn't take much. and it gets put in place, and then it's believed and it's true, and then this is what everything is.
Right.
And if you go looking, you can look into the history, and you can look at the books, you can look at the stuff that was written, you can listen to the people who are explaining, you can check the oral histories, and you all end up somewhat at the same place. All of that's known was already known. Mm-hmm. And what's now is what we've agreed kind of as a group to play with as this is real for a while.
Right, right.
So for now is if you sniffle, if you got a cold, you need to stop it.
Yeah.
And if that means you're sick.
Cough suppressant.
You need to stop coughing. You need to stop your water coming out. You need to drop your temperature. Yeah. That's how you get cured. Yeah. Even though we are agreeing to that definition and agreeing to that outcome, most of us still like, I think I'm going to hold off on that until I actually really, really, I just can't take it anymore kind of a thing. Yeah. I think maybe I shouldn't take so much of that. It's like, isn't there, I mean, why is my body doing this? Isn't it, is my body stupid?
Right.
Doesn't know what to do? I don't know. Why is it doing this? So when we get to that place, we look. Mm-hmm. And when we look, we find, oh, well, fever's actually not a bad thing. And flushing out this toxified water, that's actually a good thing. And a fever actually serves a purpose. And
so
all of these things, right, have a reason. Yeah. And supporting our body through it. Yeah. Instead of, I guess, stopping it.
Right. And not allowing the body to flush, and then you get another one and another one and another
one.
Or
even considering your flushing to be negative or bad. It's not bad. It's handy.
Unpleasant.
It's useful. Unpleasant. Like a skin shedding off of a snake is not necessarily the most pleasant thing, but geez, it's way worse if it don't.
Yep.
Same with a grab.
Exactly, yeah.
If it don't, it's way worse. Yeah. You gotta have it done. So, yeah.
Right. So, with the temperature thing, I grew up thinking that if you have a temperature over a certain number, you're going to die. Yeah. That's what I grew up with. And I had a situation in my early 20s where I got, like the typical, I call it the flu, right? There was some serious toxins around, very serious toxins around, and some very, very violent responses to those toxins in our bodies in Ireland. And so it was my spouse at the time and all my children went down with this thing, and I supported them. I didn't actually give them drugs because I couldn't keep anything down in their bellies. Mm-hmm. But I would put the cold cloth on their bellies and their feet and their head, right? Mm-hmm. So you do 3 parts of the body and their hands so that the whole body starts doing something with the temperature. And eventually they started getting better. And their fevers broke and they were fine. And then when the fevers broke, I went down with the fever.
That's when you got yours?
Yes, that's when I got yours, which is interesting, isn't it? It's
your body isn't stupid. Knew. It's like you got to take care of them and then it'll be your turn.
Yes. And then when I got it, nobody took care of me. Nobody came into the room because I was in a very bad relationship at the time, abusive. Mm-hmm. And this person, I was hoping I would die, I think, right?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe not consciously.
No, very consciously. He admitted it later. But it was like, my fever went way past the number that's supposed to kill a person at the time. Way past it. And it was unpleasant, very unpleasant. My entire body, it felt like every single cell of my body was hurting. And I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I was completely paralyzed from head to toe. I could barely breathe. Right? But I just kept like a rhythm of breathing that there's the minimum that my body could do. I couldn't move or anything. And after 2 or 3 days, my fever broke and I was able to recuperate. But I remember thinking, how do I know that the temperature was so high? Because at one point that I was able to move, I reached over and grabbed the thermometer that was by the side of the bed and I stuck it in my mouth. And then I pulled it out and it was past that number. Mm-hmm. But that was when it was down. It was already past the number where it's supposed to kill you. But it was down because I was able to move. And then when I put it back, I realized, wait, if I can move now, this is the temperature coming down. But then I couldn't move again. It meant that it was higher. So I'm not saying people do that, right? Because it's not pleasant. And since then, what I've done is when it starts getting unpleasant, I will actually do things to lower the temperature in my body. A wet cloth, and then if that doesn't work, when it gets really bad or I can't move or whatever, hallucinating, then I will take an aspirin. And that's me, that's my choice. I will suppress it because I don't want to go there anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. And I tell my body, you have to deal with it in a different way because I'm not doing this, right? And also what I found out since we started investigating all these things about the sniffles and colds and flus and things, and a lot of other illnesses, we found out that what actually kills the person is dehydration, right?
It's water, always about the water.
Yeah, it's about the water.
And water's intelligent, and water believes things, and water is crystal liquid. And there's a lot about the water that makes you up, and that's what the fever is it destructures your water in all of your cells, and that's why your cells are hurting, because all the water is squirting out of them. Yeah. It's like squish the sponge, you get the dirty yuck out. Yeah. And you got to remember that it still needs to come back in. Right. So you got to put in nice water. Yeah. Nice, healthy water, and then you got to lower the temperature to regel it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those things, that's a more accurate, I think, understanding of some of the process. Yeah. If you understand it from that perspective, you understand things can go, light the fire to melt the water, but it can get carried away and out of control.
Out of control, it can dehydrate you.
You got to slow it down now and again.
Yes.
It's like, okay,
and that's what I do.
Enough.
It's like I take both sides, and I make it so that it's comfortable for me.
But not 100% all the time.
No,
it's like,
no. I'll allow my body to get through the symptoms. I learned the thing about the temperature when I was a kid again. I mean, my mom was a homeopath, and she learned, don't suppress the temperatures, right?
And homeopathy is basically programmed water.
Yeah. So, but after that experience I had in my early 20s, after that, I would only allow it to go so far, and then I would not completely reduce, or try to reduce the temperature completely, but keep it to a comfortable level. And I knew doing this that my symptoms were going to last a few days longer, but they were symptoms I could deal with. Mm-hmm. And then I could also drink water and keep it and all these things, But yeah, and there's what was interesting to me was to find out that a lot of the illnesses and things are happening, even old age. Aging happens because of dehydration. Mm-hmm. I was surprised to find that out. So, and it's not just about drinking water. It means you need to drink structured water, good water.
And the plasma water, that's what's in the AquaCure, is plasma water.
Yeah, the AquaCure, for sure.
That's the word I think we're using now, is plasma.
Plasma water. Okay. So that makes a big difference.
Right.
It makes a big difference.
It's like a thing that you have grown habituated to not having in your life, which is actual good water.
Yeah.
And then a thing that you've learned, this is what good water is, and it comes in a plastic bottle, and it's shipped across the country, and it's filled with these pipes and angles and all this other stuff, and it's clean and clearer. It's clearer than mud puddle water.
Right.
But it's not structured, and it's not happy. It's not. It doesn't live in a creek with birds chirping. It doesn't come out deep of the water, and the birds are. And it's filled with that energy. It isn't got all of the turbulence, bubbles, and what's those spiral thingies?
Yeah, the twirlies.
Twirlies doesn't have twirlies in it. No fish life stuff. It's not living water. So we don't even know what that is anymore, right? Mm-hmm. I do remember we were listening to a podcast, and a guy climbed to the top of this mountain somewhere, or went somewhere, and there was water that was spring water, artesian spring water that's from wherever and whatever, and he took a drink of it, and it was the first time in his entire life he actually drank water and went,
"Oh, that's water."
Whoa, I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
Because all he'd ever drank, was
stuff, liquid stuff.
Liquid stuff, it's like, here's some water and you rehydrate your body. But that was actually water. That was actually living water. That was actually...
I'd like to...
the water you need.
Seed a couple of thoughts. So we as a collective can start investigating regarding water and old age. Okay? Because this is about the sniffles, but it's not just about the sniffles. It's about our health and our longevity. Mm-hmm. So when I was in school again, I was taught, knowing that our life expectancy had been increasing every generation since forever. That in old times, people would die age 20, 30. That was as old as they'd get before they died. And that nowadays, we were so lucky because of all the medical advancements and everything, that now we could live up to 70 or 80 average, right? And then I started looking at that because it didn't make any sense to me. I had photographs of my great-grandparents and pictures of their parents and great-grandparents. Photographs of my great-grandparents and pictures, like drawings and paintings of them before. And also had a lot of books as a child. And in all my books and in those photographs, the grandparents had white hair and had wrinkles. Okay? Had white hair and wrinkles. And the grandchildren, and they had great-grandchildren, and sometimes they had great-great-grandchildren. And then I looked at, later on, many years later, I looked at my father's and my auntie's birth certificate on my father's side. And my father was born when my grandmother was 44. And my auntie was born later after that. And that was normal. And she looked great. She looked like she was in her 20s at the time. Because there's photographs to prove it. And I was looking at that, and then I saw that, well, my grandmother, she died in her 90s, nearly 100 years old. And she looked like she had grey hair, right? And she had wrinkles. She looked like an old lady. She looked like a grandmother, right? And these days, if we're told that their generation and their previous generation and the generation before that, people lived until they were like in their 30s, maybe 50s max, they didn't look that way. Right? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like that is a false data point, in my opinion. I haven't truthed it yet. I haven't done more investigation. But it feels to me that the data point that people in the past lived shorter lives is false. It's false. And the actual truth is that they lived way, way longer lives than we do today. And much healthier lives than we do today. So that goes together with the false information that the older you get, the weaker you get. Which you can barely scratch it and you see the opposite is true. And even people who do like the weight training stuff and the muscle training, they don't even compete until they're like in their 40s and they start winning, right? And then it just gets more than that. They stop competing because their body in a cultural perspective gets ugly. Right, in a cultural perspective.
I don't know nothing about any of that.
But they get stronger and stronger the more they age. So I think that we've been duped. I think that also, if you look at all the symptoms of old age, you can compare them and see that they're the same as dehydration, like lack of water. And what causes that lack of water? We're the lack of it. We don't have many places where we can get it, although now we can, because there's lots of people inventing technology to restructure water, and the plasma water from the aqua-cube, for example. But also, we have to me, the level of toxins in our body almost like stop us absorbing that water. Kind of stop us from getting that water. So these things, balance out, and I'm interested in looking at it further because, yeah, it's like if our grandparents, if we think of our grandparent or we see a cartoon of our grandparent, they have white hair and they have had so since forever. So why is it that they're teaching that a couple of generations ago people didn't live very long? Anyway, I thought I'd add that little bit as a seed so we can start investigating it.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Do you feel complete, darling?
Yep, I think we covered enough on this. We're over time.
Oh, cool. All right.
See you in the second hour.
See you in the second hour.
A bit more depth.
Yes.
I mean, we really got in a little bit off. I mean, that's the second hour.
Yeah.
We did the second hour for the first hour. That's a taste of what we get into.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't listened to the second hour,
it's a good time to do it.
It's a good time to do it. You're going to get the 2023 look ahead, right?
On the second hour?
Isn't that part of the second hour at Subscribe Star?
Oh, yeah, but not on this podcast. Not this particular podcast, second hour. It's going to be about this podcast. But yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You get the second hour, you can get the second hour, which this podcast we basically sampled with, kind of how we go about it. Yeah. But you're going to also get into the 2023 thing. So that's a good time to get a Subscribe Star.
Yes, I think so too.
Okay.
See you there.
See ya.
Bye.